Welcome everyone, come on in and take a seat. And thank you so much for coming to our second and hopefully annual alumni night. This year titled Alumni Conversations. I want to say a little bit about how this event originated, and also want to note that it's something that we've talked about doing, or other people, certainly not me, have talked about doing something like this for many, many years. And to my knowledge, last year was the first year that we actually gathered a group of alumni together and had an alumni panel, if you will, and we had it in the annex. And what I was really hoping from that event is that it would feel like a comfortable conversation along the lines of what you experience in the kitchen at the schoolhouse, or in the lobby at the Nomad before or after a play, or up at one of the coffee shops when you're talking with these very real people that come from Tara and that are drawn to Tara. And I loved that. It felt kind of like a coffee house vibe down at the annex last year. And we're so happy to do it again. We're still feeling the sadness of the flood event that happened in the annex November 30th. And so it's being rebuilt. The annex is in the process of being reconstructed, and insulation is being blown in today and tomorrow and so forth. And so that's all very, very good. But we're here in a space that's a little bit more formal, right? Like we've got audience in the them position, and alumni panelists in the us position, at least from my perspective. And I just want to, even though we've got this blocking, we've got this staging, I still want to rattle that cage a little bit. So even though you're sitting over here, let's, kind of consider ourselves in a circle or in a more living room environment, and just bring that feeling into the room, right?
Would you like some of us to spread out?
Well, we went through a process of thinking, should we have everybody sit up on the stage and do a whole circle up there? And then, never mind, the lighting might be weird. So anyhow, welcome. And here we are at the Nomad. And I think everybody knows who I am, but just in case, I'm Catherine Barraclough, and I'm on the Leadership Council at Tara, and I'm a teacher at Tara, and I'm also an alum of Tara, and I graduated in 2001, and so I get to moderate. Hopefully we don't have to mediate anything. If we do, we'll leave that to Erin. But we'll start by having everyone introduce themselves and what they do and what year they graduated in. And then we'll go into some of the questions that I've prepared. And then after that, we'll have time for some Q&A. Sound good?
Great.
Okay, great. Thank you, Colleen. Excellent. Okay, that's me. Over to you, Nico. Except I sat on my notebook.
Fair enough. My name is Nico Olaya, class of 2018. I am a almost a firefighter paramedic for City of Longmont. I have been there for just over 4 years now. I think that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Nico.
Yeah.
I'm Morgan Hottest Flores, which is kind of new. I'm an interior designer. I have 2 jobs. I work for a commercial office interiors firm, leading their team, doing high-end commercial office spaces. I have a side business that kind of grew without me really trying to do anything. I used to do very high-end residential projects, Prince of Saudi houses in Aspen, cool, fun stuff. So I have my side business that is doing very well. And I have 4 kids. I married a man who had 3 kids, and we had one surprise baby show up, and so I'm busy.
I'm Asada Wells. I graduated in 2017. I live here in Boulder with my husband and our 2 bulldogs. And I work on Medicaid projects, so suicide prevention and mental health supports for state and local governments for a small consulting firm.
My name is Erin Agee. I graduated in 2001 with Catherine from Tara. I also taught at Tara for a couple of years and have served on the board for a number of years as well. And let's see, my current job, I am a supervisory attorney at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. We do enforcement work in my section. I also serve as a mediator and facilitator for EPA for environmental disputes. And I also write poetry.
I'm Griffin Woodard. I graduated in 2022. I'm currently a senior at the University of Denver, majoring in strategic communications with a triple minor in sustainability, sociology, and international studies. Yeah.
Awesome. Dang. Okay, let's just do a sound check here. Can everyone hear?
No.
Do we need some projection?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Deborah. We decided not to have microphones for this event, thinking, we can all harness our ability to project from the Nomad stage, and we think of this theater as one of the most intimate 155 seat houses in Boulder. So there are a lot of people that can fit in here, but we do need to probably project. Thank you for your feedback.
Could you not hear any of us?
What?
It would be better to hear you a little better.
Got you.
We can do that.
We can do that. We've got you covered. Okay, so my first question out of the gates, other than these introductions, which thank you so much. It's just wonderful to hear what everyone is up to and what a diverse assortment of directions that people have gone in coming out of Tara. How did you hear about Tara? It's always interesting to hear what led somebody to be part of this school. And so we can popcorn, we could go back the other direction, whatever you will. But how did you hear about Tara in the first place?
I can start. When I was looking for at high schools, my mom found this high school fair happening in a basement of a church, and I was interested in theater tech design, lights, sound in middle school, and I was gonna go through a portfolio making process for the DSA, Denver School of Performing Arts, down in Denver. But then I found about Tara and how they have this whole education and curriculum around classroom without walls and these trips they go on, and I immediately fell in love with the idea, and that became my first choice.
Awesome.
Do you want us to go down?
Sure, let's keep flying down the line. Bring it back this way.
Okay. I found out about Tara because my dear friend Catherine Barraclough is the daughter of Betsy Barraclough and living
got
with
that.
Laurel and Greg Fisher, all the co-founders of Tara as a after school program. And so started in the after school program and in candlelight and all of this before it became a high school, and then enviously watched as Catherine and other of my friends got to do really cool projects and classes with very compelling professors and trips as the high school began. So that, I got to be intimately familiar with it through you.
Wait, that's so sweet. I grew up in North Boulder in the neighborhood near Tara, and so walking to kindergarten and elementary school and everything, we would walk past the Tara campus. So we saw all of the kids building the straw bale wall and playing volleyball and building sets in the field, and then we came to all of the shows, to Candlelight, to all of the, I think I saw Les Mis over a series of years, and all incredible performances. So it seemed like so much more than just passing exams or memorizing dates and facts for school, and it seemed like much more of a holistic environment.
Wonderful.
I graduated in 2005, which I forgot to say, so I just thought I'd add that back in. But my mom found Tara haphazardly, I think. And I was in the choice program out east Boulder, and I was not doing very well in school. I was bored, very ADHD personality, need to move through things very quickly. So I started with the Candlelight Festival in 8th grade before I came to the school. And fell in love with the people, fell in love with the music and the directorship and all of the things that were magical about the performance and the tightness of the community and the students. And that's what pulled me in to say, yes, I'm going to go to the school. And I didn't know anything about the Waldorf curriculum at all. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it was. My mom didn't really fill me in on what was going to happen. And I kind of got thrown in head first. And it changed the way I felt about learning.
Wow.
So I came for theater, but I got way more than theater.
Excellent.
Opposite of what I was going for.
No worries. All good. Welcome. Glad to have you. Yeah, it's not as bad. We're breaking the fourth wall. Yeah, thanks so much, Morgan. That's an excellent and really interesting answer. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I grew up in Waldorf schools, Shepherd Valley. I think it's Boulder Valley now.
Yeah.
Different name, but I grew up there, and kind of as long as I can remember, would go to shows, to the Tara performances and see them. And as a little kid, going to these, they seemed like the greatest, coolest thing ever. So I have good memories of that. But then when it came time to go to high school, I didn't go to Tara. I went to the other Waldorf high school option, which was Shining Mountain. Did a year there. Didn't really enjoy it. Had a couple buddies that came here. And not to belittle it, but this was the only other option. So, yeah. But yeah, I came here, and I enjoyed it. High school for me was not an easy ordeal. I struggled in high school. It was a rough time. But I think Tara offered a lot of kind of cool outlets and opportunities. Obviously, the performing arts are a lot of fun and kind of a neat aspect. But also the trips, the travel, and then towards the end, there was a lot of, academic freedom that was kind of allowed. Maybe that was just a me case, I don't know. But that was huge for me, and kind of really helped me figure out what I would end up doing. So, yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Nico.
Yeah.
All right. So there are a couple questions that I heard from a few seniors that they would like us to ask. One of those is, what's a skill that Tara provided you with that has been helpful in your life and career?
Back down the line?
Yeah, let's go back down the line. But if any time we want to change from going windshield wiper, we could just start in the middle. Whoever feels like they've got the most substantive thing to say right away, feel free to go. If you need a breath, Nico.
I'll take it away.
Okay, take it away.
All right, I kind of figured this question was coming, and I was thinking about it for a good little bit, but I think what's the best answer that I have been able to come up with as of yet is, I think, the ability to perform. In my line of work, we practice, we train, we go through a lot of scenarios, and then when something pops up, you gotta perform, right? So, kind of different, obviously quite different, but in the sense that we here at Tara, we would devote a lot of time and train on something, and then have to perform. And while this is, a somewhat low stakes performance, it feels quite high stakes, right? The lights are in your face, you can't see a lot. There's a lot going on. And you're sitting back there, you're nervous, right? Like stuff is, anxiety is building. And then that transferring into life, being able to kind of maintain composure, maintain kind of that ability to draw back on, while it may not be lines, now it's protocols, or now it's, run orders or whatever else. So being able to kind of regurgitate information under stress has been really helpful.
Well said. Also extremely cool. And important. Yeah.
I answered this question on a video post, so maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. But I actually had 3 answers, and so I'll give the other 2.
Oh.
The other answers are perseverance, grit. The ability to push through when things aren't going the way that you expect them to or that you want them to. And to have enough sustained energy to push through and problem solve and find ways to be creative. And I mean creative in more of the problem solving sense than the artistic sense, just how to swim around and navigate whatever challenge came my way. And that's not something that a lot of people can learn. It's not taught in regular school to find grit. It's taught in sports, it's taught in theater, but it's not taught in regular school. It's just not that I've seen. And the other one is similar, but more on the what's the word I'm looking for? Just being put on the spot. And public speaking and sales. My sales career became incredibly powerful because I learned how to mirror and connect with people. And because I was able to present projects. I think something that interior designers don't learn in college is how to sell your design. But because of my theater background and because I learned how to be able to think on the spot in the moment, I was able to sell what I was putting together for someone. And that came from just being able to be on the spot, public speaking, presenting projects, presenting pitch meetings, selling my business, selling the business I work for now. And it was very valuable. It is still very valuable.
Heck yeah.
Definitely. I definitely agree with that with client services.
Yeah.
Learning to be comfortable in front of an audience,
Yep.
learning to react when things change. I agree with that. But I was thinking of something else. I think definitely the performing teaches you so much, but beforehand, you're handed a play, you're handed a cast, your character that you're going to embody for a month or months. And we did so much work in the script and with the lines, figuring out who your character is, why they are the way they are, why they say what they say, and not only learning about that, but learning about the history of the play, who the author, the playwright was, what was happening in their sphere, in the world that made them write the play, that inspired them, what influenced them. And so I think that aspect of media literacy, when news or social media are so the way they are, being able to see, oh, what does this individual or this piece of content or media, what are they gaining? What is their messaging? What are my biases as the reader receiving the content? Understanding the context of why they are creating it. So I think all of that was definitely taught, not just through the performing, but through the initial pieces.
So beautiful plug for table work. Yes. Thank you, Asada.
Yeah, both of what you said, Asada and Morgan, is sparking thoughts for me. I think I would say conflict resolution. And a few things come to mind. One is just the intimacy of a Tara education, whether that's because you're building and doing a play together, or you're in a small class size and you have a class meeting and you're talking about a difficult emotional dynamic or experience that you're having with one another, and being able to talk through that in an effective way, to be able to learn how to repair in an effective way, to be able to listen to one another in an effective way. I think all of that has really impacted the conflict resolution work that I do, and also the legal work that I do. How do we listen to one another? Yeah.
All those, sorry.
Yeah. So that's one thing. The other thing I wanted to say was this is what you were touching upon too, which is perspective taking. When we talk about effective conflict resolution, one of the most effective things we can do is put ourselves in the shoes of someone else, is take on the perspective of the person across the table or in the circle. And some people might call that empathy, but it's something that I think is just in the fabric of Tara, both modeled and implied, but also part of an overt teaching in the school, and so that is really effective as well. So both of the perspective taking, the listening, how do we repair, how do we communicate effectively with one another, are all things that were so much a part of Atara education.
All those are great. Mine was like how to enjoy learning. I grew up with learning disabilities, dyslexia and ADHD, and coming to Tara, they've made me enjoy learning. If it was from like main lesson books instead of a final, or like the quizzes were not as structured as like public school quizzes were, and just the trips and like the curriculum I really enjoyed, but as well on top of that, it's like perseverance. I came here kind of expecting to only do theater tech, like set building, and then I found out I had to act in my class play, and I was like, I'm gonna only like take the smallest plays, and like just try to get by. And the more and more I like got into it and got like into rehearsal, I enjoyed acting. I like went for more like bigger roles. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, very, very nice. It's incredible actually how, I mean, I'm just hearing everybody answer these questions and I'm forgetting that I have to ask a question following up because I'm so interested to hear what all of you are saying. And yeah, thank you so much. It's really, really interesting to ponder what your reflections are. Okay, another question from a Tara student was, if you had, once you came to Tara, if you had any kind of wobbling as to whether you wanted to stay, what made you want to remain at Tara? So once you enrolled, what caused you to stay committed to being at Tara? Got anything, Nico?
Like I said, I struggled with, and I don't think it was necessarily, at the moment it seemed like my struggle was Tara. Looking back, maybe not so much. But I think there was kind of always a big moment to look forward to, and something that I was interested in. And again, I think I'll stick with that track. But as far as something to look forward to, the plays, the performances, I really enjoyed the plays and acting. So that was always kind of something to look forward to. But then the trips are something that I think in the moment are kind of easy to forget how wonderful that is. But realistically, I mean, that's an opportunity that's not really afforded to a lot of high schoolers. And being able to go and experience the world and different kind of aspects of the world, right? Because some of the trips you're in the backcountry and some of the trips you're in New York City, right? So it's like there's a kind of a lot of worldview that gets shaped and allowed to get shaped. So, yeah.
Outstanding. Beautifully done.
Thank you.
I didn't have a waffle or a waiver, but I'm going to share something that I think is as valuable. So all four of my girls are at the Denver Waldorf School. A big reason for that was my experience here and finding the magic. But they've come to several plays. They've come to several candlelight festivals over the years. And my oldest, Javi, who is a very challenging kid from foster care, has said to me on a multitude of occasions, I really wish I could go to Tara. And for legal court battles with ex-wife, that can't be the case right now. But I always ask why. And her responses are never clear, but what I can uncover from them is there's a magic here that isn't at other schools. And Waldorf is one component of it. But what happens here, the intimacy, the community, the camaraderie piece is what she sees when she comes to the shows, when she comes to the festivals, when she sees me interacting with people that I've known for years. And that magic piece that is not found almost anywhere is what I can distill it to. That's the best thing I can distill it to.
That's such a wonderful perspective to hear too. Oh yeah, that'll get some tingling going in the eyes. That's so right.
It's dust. Yeah, I don't think I am in the waffling boat either. I don't think I had waffles. My middle sister graduated from Tara after me. My youngest sister is a senior. And so we're definitely we're in the ecosystem. But I think part of the reason that made it so worthwhile and so interesting, actually you reminded me of it, was that joy for learning. And I think the teachers very much cultivate that. I don't know if it's the class sizes, I don't know if it's the Waldorf education system for how to teach, but I don't think you can find another school where in like an algebra class, the teacher is not only able to teach you how to do the math, but is able to indulge my curiosity of why things are the way they are. And I think that, that cultivation of my curiosity and love of learning, I think, is so invaluable.
I was laughing at why are these things. I feel like that was always my question in math. It's like, that was my only question in math.
Understand, but why?
Yeah, why? I'm not sure that helped me, but yeah, I can relate. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering this. I don't remember feeling once I got to Tara a real waffling, but coming to Tara was a real decision point in my life because I had also been at Shining Mountain and had with Catherine and other friends who went to Tara, but continued to have very, very close friendships with people at Shining Mountain. And so the decision after 10th grade to leave Shining Mountain and go to Tara for 11th and 12th, or at least just 11th to see how it all went, was very gut-wrenching for me. I mean, I was 15 years old and it felt like the hardest decision I ever had to make in my life. And lucky me to get to have that choice. So I guess I'll speak a little bit more to like what I think drew me or, pushed me over the edge, so to speak. And that was this word integrity comes to mind. I noticed in Tara an integrity to the student body and an integrity to the mission. And it spoke so deeply to me. I wanted to be a part of a group that valued their word, that knew what that meant, that knew who they were or who they wanted to become, that sought to deeply see other people in their community, to be deeply seen. And all of that had such an integrity and intentionality for me. And at 15, I was asking questions like why at every chance I could get. And that uprightness spoke so deeply to me on a soul level that I think that was the thing that really drew me in and got me over the fear of losing my friends and all the other very important social aspects that were at play in my life at the time.
Thanks, Erin.
Yeah.
I remember that time very, very well.
Yes.
I don't think there was a point where I wanted to leave. There was like speculation that I wanted, like, for my parents during COVID. Just because it was a hard time for everyone. We were doing online classes when the pandemic first hit, and it wasn't fun, but I feel like it still made me want to learn. It was less like sitting in front of a computer, it's more go outside, do an experiment, write about it, then collect, and then like turn it in. And just how like the teachers want you to succeed, it like made me want to stay.
Excellent. Remember that time very well too, Griffin. Yes, thank goodness we got to spend more time face to face and not just have those 3 weeks of online learning that we did there. Okay, so some quicker ones. How about your most high impact or memorable class that you had at Tara? And we could break up our windshield wiper if you want. Or if one is too hard, then go for the top 3.
That's too much. I can do my top 3.
Okay, bring it.
The top 2 are definitely World War I and World War II history. Matt.
Nice.
I begged my parents to buy Axis and Allies after the class, and I still beat all my family members in the game. And the last one was our geology trip on San Juan and Green River. We did 2 river trips because we were a weird class with COVID. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I think it really sparked my interest for like sustainability and outdoors. I was a very outdoorsy person in the first place, but that kind of like jump started me in like doing my own research about it.
Cool.
Native American Block was really impactful for me.
With Laurel.
With Laurel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
I learned a lot about myself and where I belonged in that time frame, but I also recognized more about my sensitivities to stimulation. Coming back out was really hard. It was really hard. So that was super impactful, very memorable, very sensitive space to be in. It wasn't, so Bible literature was impactful from an opposite standpoint in that I failed that class. I actually legitimately failed that class. And that was with Betsy. And I remember answering quiz questions that were just very inaccurate. But I think that was my turning point for, I need to pour in even if it's not my subject. And I need to put in the effort to be able to just move forward whether or not this is my thing. Because Bible, it was not my thing. Which is funny because I married a man who has read every religious book under the sun and was studying to be a rabbi before software. So he likes to try to have those conversations, and it's not me. You're not having those with me. And then I actually learned how to write at Tara. My writing skills were terrible before coming here. And Sibylla sat down with me on a multitude of occasions, and we learned to write together. And I felt what you said about the teachers really want you to succeed was hugely impactful. I would never, I feel like a really decent writer, and that was not at all the case.
Cool.
Yeah, so those are poignant moments, for sure.
Kind of have one referencing a little bit of that as well. In senior year, when Bible literature came up as a class, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I was able to come up with an alternate plan, which honestly is one of my well, it's one of my top 3, which I was able to present that I wanted to go remodel a house with somebody, John Laneson, and he would teach me how to remodel a house from start to finish during that time. And I was able to kind of present that to the trio and say, hey, during these hours, I'll go and do this, and I'll write stuff up about it and all this. And I ended up being able to do that, which was incredible. And then I spent so much more time doing that than just the class time. But I learned so much. But my point in saying that, because that's kind of saying, well, the best was to not do what, but the point in saying that is that the teachers, like we had just said, wanted to help out and make sure that their students were able to succeed, and kind of allowed for a platform for that to happen. And that was kind of a life-changing experience. So I really do appreciate that. Another couple are the trips. The river trip was amazing. That has some key moments, I think, of my life and development on it, of just being back there. And was that the geology trip?
Yeah,
right.
that was
So
the geology
same.
trip, yeah.
That was just an incredible experience. I don't think a lot of people get to do something like that, and there's just so much that comes from being on the river for a couple weeks. So that was amazing. And then the Europe trip was fantastic as well. One of the big moments that kind of sticks out was on our free day in Vienna. We decided to hop on a train and go to Slovakia. And that was incredible, to be able to go on a train for an hour and go to a completely different everything, and then come back to Vienna and continue on the trip and see that there's just so much there. Probably, sorry. It's real, right?
I believe that was approved.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fully approved. There was a lot of debate about that.
Yeah.
So I heard. I wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, thank you, because it was awesome. Yeah. But those are my 3.
That's fantastic.
The trips definitely reminded me of mine because one of my favorites was definitely history through music. All of the history through arts, I think, definitely were up there for me, but specifically history through music because that one we got to see pieces performed in New York that we had learned about, that we had studied, that we had learned the history of the composers, and then same with the Europe trip, getting to see where the composers we had learned about and written essays about and read about, where they lived, where they worked, where they grew up. And so I think that the combination there of that level of experiential learning was definitely impactful.
I feel like I should remember more.
I was having trouble as well.
Do you want me to tell you?
Catherine famously has a way better memory than I do. Like, Erin, you remember that time when you said that thing? But it's a couple of things. One, we had a class with Renee Carrito called, I don't know what it was called, but I remember the question was, what is the word? That was,
History of the word.
History of the word?
Yes, I think that was the title, but
Okay. I trust your memory. It was so compelling. And all of these history through, right? The fact that we get to start the block with what is poetry, what is music, that is just so deeply inviting. And so that was a favorite. I remember English classes with Bethy Leonardi, feeling so deeply seen by this English professor, and deeply challenged. And what a good combination that was, to be seen and challenged. But then, as I was thinking about this, what was really swirling around was just goofing off with you and other students in the class. I mean, I can still remember inside jokes from when we were 17 years old. And the fact that kind of joy bubbles up in me still, might be more impactful than any of the other academics. It's all important, but I love that still lives in me. Is such a rich testament to the relationships that are built and that still remain.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. That's everybody on that.
Yeah.
I'm just combing through my own memory to think if I want to answer this and stop being the moderator, but yeah, something that's I will. It's something that's coming to mind for me is that when we started at Tara was the basement of someone's house on Orchard, so just like right over there. And since it was just the 9th grade, we were having almost all of our classes in the basement of the Mahalovich's house. Brave they were to let us have class in there and, start this high school in their basement. But we had French and German offered at that time. And French took place, at least at 9th grade, French took place in the basement and German was taking place in the kitchen. And I had kind of before high school, I thought that language learning was like definitely the place to goof off. Like that was my experience up until that point. Is like in language class you can be bad and it's so fun. And I remember not at Tara, but our whole class had detention at one point. So I came in kind of like wild and misbehaving in French, and I thought that would fly. And it didn't. And it didn't fly for a couple of reasons. And one of those was that it was really, really interesting to learn a new language. And it was happening immersively. And we weren't allowed to speak another language in the French class. Like, we learned question phrases and question words in French. And then it was like, there's no English in here unless you're saying, how do I say blah word in English in French? So that made it really hard to misbehave, but still my bad behavior came popping out from time to time, and we would be sent à la cuisine. So anybody who was being bad was being sent to the kitchen and going upstairs. And usually the person who was misbehaving was laughing so hard as they were ascending the stairs to the kitchen that they were falling down the stairs. Anyway, it was such a fun. I loved French. I got to the point by the end of freshman year that I remember having conversations with Laurel in French while we're driving to Denver. Bless her for that, for enduring that. But just being totally swept away by the fact that you can have fun doing something, you can learn it deeply in a short amount of time. You can really make progress with it, and it can unlock a part of the world for you. Really. That's just the one that I'll throw in there right now. Yeah, I was really a rascal. Okay, so what about, let's go for, quickly, favorite role you played at Tara? Anybody?
I don't remember the name of it, but it was Merry Wives of Windsor. It was a guy with a wig.
What was that character's name, Laurel? Master Ford.
That one.
Master Ford.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah. Good time.
Yeah.
I can't pick one, so I'm gonna go with top two. Ado Annie from Oklahoma, too much fun. But the other one was Harriet from Pullman Car, Hiawatha. That was very intense. Very strong play that stuck. I used that monologue for college auditions, and that was a very powerful one.
I think playing Viola in 12th Night, I think, was super transformative for me. She pretends to be her brother, a boy, throughout, and is unmasked throughout. And so I think, that character was very impactful for me. And it's a beautiful play. It makes me think of, I think the costumes definitely need a mention, because the costumes throughout, as a kid, getting to see the costumes and these plays come to life because of the costumes, and then getting to be in them. The pin sticking was less fun, but the costumes were stunning.
Yes, seriously.
Being on the stage reminds me of Winter's Tale
Yeah.
and getting to play the shepherd. Was that the name?
The
Just
old
the
shepherd.
The old shepherd. Yeah, I still remember that exercise. You would have us do, Laurel, where we would all have one line in mind from our character, and all at once we would step forward and say this line that was some kind of epitome of what we brought as that character. I still remember that so potently.
I forgot the role name. It was in Noel Coward's Present Laughter. I also really enjoyed doing my Commedia dell'arte as Durante. It's always fun to be an old grumpy man. And, yeah.
Why did the boy get on the boat?
I still say that. From time to time. When I'm confused, I will say that.
It's a really good one. Okay, excellent. How about a highlight from a trip that you remember? Or a moment from a trip that you recall frequently?
I can go first. On one of the geology trips, one of the rafts got stuck, so I ran out to help it out of my boat, and I was running in this maybe couple feet of water, and then I hit this puddle of this hole that just was so deep, and I just fell straight forward on my face. And I got up and looked around to see if anyone noticed, and everyone noticed. And I was like, you know what? I should laugh too, and keep running. And yeah, that's my favorite memory from my trip.
Sandbars.
I like this. It feels so trivial. This. I remember getting stuck in a van.
Oh God! On the way to blacksmithing.
Yeah.
Seatbelt?
Yes, the seatbelt. Exactly. Getting stuck in a van, wedged. Well, I think because Catherine pushed me aggressively and delightfully, so that I was stuck between the van seat and the sliding door of the van, wedged, and I said, "Release my safety belt." And that's my favorite memory of the Tara trip. I'm sorry I don't have anything more profound that has stuck with me. I'll come up with a metaphor later.
There's two that stick out to me. One is very elegant and the other is very chaotic. Getting to ride the horses on the Native American trip, I think about that regularly because you're in such a beautiful environment with these cliff faces, and you're either walking or on horseback, and I think that was really incredible. And then, Catherine, it was in one of the car rides to either the Native American trip or the geology trip, and it was your car. And it was, do you remember the word game?
Contact?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It was a lovely time, a chaotic time. That.
Excellent.
My horse story is not as elegant.
Nobody fell off.
I did. So I rode horses for a long time as a kid. Showed horses, equestrian, jumper, everything. So we were at Luella's house, and Betsy said I could go off and ride these beautiful French Camargue horses that had been brought over on the boat from France to England. And anyways, these horses had not been ridden in a while. And so we were riding, everything was fine. I was with the barn handler, like one other woman and me. And the rest of the class had gone off, Laurel, Greg, Betsy, they were all walking somewhere. And we got to the moor, which is big brushy fields. And she was like, if you want to canter a little, let's go. Well, the horse took off, gone. Fast, galloping. And my training was if you are jumping over things, which we were, you lean forward. Well, the horse decided that meant we go faster. So all of a sudden, there was a 10-foot drop into a castle ruin. And the horse slammed on the brakes. Luckily, gymnastics and vaulting kicked in, and I did a flip in the air and a somersault down and somersaulted into this castle ruin. And I landed, and I was like, oh, what's broken? Nothing was broken.
Whoa.
I had a little scratch, and my fingers were numb from getting caught in the reins. So I climbed up and peeped up, and Luella's Jeep was flying across the whole field because she was mortified that something had happened. And I was fine. So I had to walk around, and my horse was just grazing, and I had to walk around, and I had to go up, and she threw her jacket on me. You're in shock. And I'm fine. You do not have to get back on this horse. And I said, Luella, the number one rule of being a rider is you have to get back on the horse. She was terrified. So I got back on the horse, and I went and found the crew, and Betsy was mortified. She was so panicked, and she didn't want me to tell my parents. But that was terrifying. And on that same trip, this is the second best part of that trip, I was designated as Betsy's co-pilot. And it was the first time that she was driving on the other side of the road. And I documented every swear word. And I have it in my journal, in my basement. But it is very important that you know that is a direct result of that. They are very kindred spirits, and it is very lucky that Catherine has taken on the role here that she has, because part of the experience was the people you were traveling with. And there are a lot of more funny stories from that trip. We'll stop there.
Awesome.
Mine was kind of a miserable experience at the time, but kind of cool afterwards. But it was also on the rafting trip, and also sandbars, I guess. Although it might have been pre-sandbar. It was a rock, yeah. But Catherine and I were actually on the same boat, and it was the last boat, and it had been cold the whole time. It was raining. All of our stuff was wet. And we got stuck. We could see everybody just pulled off to the campsite, and we're stuck. We hit a rock. We're totally on the rock, and it was like, oh man, like what now? And yeah, and I was like, I'll jump in. So I jumped in. I lifted the thing. I kind of just pushed it, got soaked, freed the boat. And then I was soaked, completely drenched, and all of my stuff was wet. But we made it to camp, and then the following night was pretty miserable. It's chilly and all that. But looking back at that, I think that moment was kind of one of those moments, like that you're like, huh. Like that's kind of a little bit of maybe a defining moment in one's life, and maybe kind of one of those things that's like, looking back. And in the moment, there was not a question about it. I was like, this has to be done. I'll do it. Shortly after, it was like, why did I do that? That was terrible. And then now, looking back at it again, it was kind of one of those things. It was like, that was kind of a neat kind of point in life that it was like, that's kind of who maybe I am or something. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. That was a cool moment.
Thanks, Nico.
Yeah.
We were really stuck.
Yeah.
You guys know what that's like. Some of you really know what that's like. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Not everybody has to answer this, but in a similar storytelling vein, does anyone have any recollections of backstage bloopers that occurred?
I have on stage.
That's fair.
During my performance as Durante, me and a character Scapan were fighting over a coin bag, and the coin bag ripped on stage at a performance, and I was like, I don't know what to do, and I was like, I just like went with it. But as soon as I went backstage, I started losing it laughing. That was the funniest thing. But yeah, that's my on stage blooper, I guess.
Shredded. Oh, you got one, Aaron?
No. I think we almost kissed.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember this?
No. Or if I do, I've erased it.
What? Come on, don't leave me high and dry here.
Do you remember what play?
Wasn't it Oklahoma?
Oh, maybe. Oh, yes, when I was the off-cast and we were doing the waltzing.
No, I'm thinking about there were many times. I'm thinking about Aunt Eller and Lori. Weren't we supposed to do like a cheek thing?
Yes, and we met in the middle
But we met
almost.
in the middle.
It's so disastrous. You really have to decide who's going upstage and who's going downstage.
Yeah. It's good practice for European greetings.
Yeah, it is. Good practice for European greetings.
I think I have no recollection of what play it was in, but it was not only a quick change, but a sprint around to get to a new entrance. And so you're sprinting in period clothes and shoes, and so it's an adventure. It's an adventure, but we made it. We made it.
I guess.
Most of the time.
I have two. One I was a part of and one I was not. We were doing Fiddler on the Roof, and I was one of the younger girls. And we were talking to Yenta, which was Sonara, Laurel's daughter, and Golda didn't come on the stage for some reason. She completely forgot. And so I had to get up and say, I'm going to go find my mom. It was something like that. I just had to go find her because she wasn't coming. And then the other one was a Commedia dell'arte, which was a class 2 or 3 classes below me, but it was Mio and Galia, at the time Galia. And it was their Commedia dell'arte play, and the banana was the sword. But the banana fell off. And the entire audience and the entire cast lost it. And it was very funny.
Brilliant.
Also miserable at the time, but
This is the theme.
it was during Nicholas Nickleby. I was a grumpy old dude. And I got so sick. So sick. I was running a fever. I had my little I had a little cot in the back, and I was like under the covers, just feverish. Yeah, it was pretty miserable. But it was awesome because the character, I had my little office in the corner, and it was great because I was that much grumpier. Yeah, it added a whole nother, I guess, level to the character of just being really sick and tissues and grumpy and delusional, I guess. But yeah.
Heck yeah. I remember that very well too. Yeah, and Asada may not remember this, or I heard from Cece that Asada, you don't remember this. But when you were stage managing the 9th grade play, which was the Venetian Twins, and there was a terrible, one of the most epic mistakes I've ever seen take place at Tara, where one character who was playing both of the twins skipped forward 20 pages.
Oh, I do remember that.
And there was just like the people in the booth, I was laughing so hard from the terror and panic in the audience of like, what are we going to do? This is like I have no idea
It's
how
half
they're
the
going to
play,
fix
yeah.
this. They've skipped half the play, or at least 2/3 of it. And I could hear in the booth the students who were operating lights and sound were cursing and freaking out. They told me later they were like frantically flipping through their scripts to try to figure out where they had jumped to. A character, the Pantalone character, was supposed to give one of the Venetian twins poison, and he had the poison and had given it. He's just following along with the skip that happened. He'd given the character the poison, and he went off stage. He left the stage through the center curtain, and apparently you encountered him there, and you said, "You have to go back and take that back." you get back on there and get that, and you opened the curtains and you turned him around and you shoved him back on stage.
They got back to where they were supposed to be.
That actor,
Hey.
that little 9th grade boy, Miles Lloyd, said, he came back on stage and sort of froze for a moment, and then he said, "I've changed my mind." But that would not have happened. I don't know how the play would have turned out if you hadn't done that.
Oh my god.
That was a big save.
I did forget about all of that.
It was incredible. It was really incredible. Okay, a little bit more ponderous. Let's think about the Tara educational philosophy as a whole and how that may have impacted you as a student when you were there. And the question is, do you think that educational philosophy informed or impacted your life after Tara or your career?
We can popcorn. I can go first. I went to a pretty unique program within NYU, and it's called Gallatin School of Individualized Study. And so essentially, like Nico's mentioned, that you could do at Tara, you got to create your own major. You had to pitch it and write about it and do a thesis, but you had the privilege to combine things in an interdisciplinary manner that normally you would not get with simply a sociology degree or a linguistics degree, etc. And so I think I would never have had the perspective or the desire or even thought of that as an option if not for Tara, because of even if it's French in the kitchen, learning about cooking in Spanish, or the history through poetry, getting to learn about the wars and political events that are influencing the Transcendentalists or the other poets that we're learning about. The overlap and interconnectedness that was taught by the teachers and through the curriculum, that ideology, that it really is that deep, and it is really all connected and influencing each other, and nothing happens in a vacuum, and it is interconnected, and there are outside forces influencing actions. That context, that perspective, I don't think I would have sought out that type of major or that type of school without that, I think. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I would say the short answer is yes, hugely impactful. There's two things that I think about. The number one being, it's not so much of a thing anymore because I'm now 21 years out of Tara, but when I initially graduated, the relationship I had with my teachers, because I was committed to curriculum and asking questions and the learning how to learn piece, which we have both touched on, I think, the philosophy on how we learned through the arts and through main lesson books and through drawing as a design student, a lot of that carried over for me especially. But I was also treated like an adult more than I was, even with design clients and things. I've been told many times, wow, you're very mature for your age. And it's because of the depth that I'm able to dive into as quickly as I'm able to dive into it. And I think that's a result of the learning style and the way that subjects are approached. That was two thoughts smushed into one.
We got you. Yeah, thanks, Morgan.
Yeah.
I feel like as I'm exiting school, I feel like that question's more of a stronger yes. And that's probably just me maturing. And I think after Tara, I was very excited to like get out into the world and like kind of leave Tara behind. And I think it took me transferring schools, coming back to Colorado, kind of to like reconnect with like the arts. I've been more on like the film side. I've been getting close with like the friends on the film school and kind of relating like tech and design to that is a really interesting way of like learning, but also just like advocating for myself. I was very scared my freshman year in college. Just asked for help, get the resources I need, which I was very confident at Tara doing, and kind of just like gaining that confidence back at DU. It was really nice and like made me reconnect.
I think something you said triggered thoughts for me too, which is that this concept that we don't have to be so siloed in our endeavors and our interests, and I would take it a step further so it's not just that, oh, I can play an instrument and also learn science and also know what it's like to speak in front of a crowd. Isn't that cool that I can do all these separate things? So taking a step further and saying, all of these things that I can do make me better at all of these other things and make me more fully who I am and make me more fully present for my fellow human being. Mm-hmm. And I think that has played out for me in pursuit of law, but also in pursuit of poetry, that I can be both a poet and an attorney, that I can be in these different artistic and social and justice spheres of the world. And I not only do I not see them as, just these siloed things to pursue, but I think my poetry makes me a better legal advocate and vice versa, and therefore better able to serve. I think that's so rich at Tara, and it's a kind of perspective that just sort of swimming in. I think perhaps as a student you might not even be aware of that or be able to reflect on it quite at that time, but it just imbues the path. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Outstanding.
I think I came up with an answer. I think there's kind of two parts to it. One is being able to master one's own destiny. I think a lot of schools, it's kind of like, hey, this is the track. You just go, you do this, you do this. Once you're out, you go and you do this, and then you do this, and then now you're in life, and it's like, oh, I didn't know how to control anything, and now here I am, and literally the world's my oyster. Right? So I think in Tara, there's a little bit of kind of being able to, or maybe this was just me, but mastering one's own destiny, and I think Asada touched on it, of kind of declaring your own major almost within the school, but kind of allowing you to kind of figure out how to navigate both curriculum, assignments, people, all of that. And then going into life, that was really helpful, because initially I fell into you're out of high school, you got to go to the university. So I went to CU Boulder, and then there I was like, okay, this isn't it. So how am I going to figure out what to do? And kind of had the ability to look at how to do life. Mm-hmm. And from there, I was able to kind of ultimately get into firefighting. But through that, also, like y'all said too, I think gain a little bit of maturity. I mean, it's throughout life somewhat common for people to say, oh, I thought you were older, or oh, whatever. And that became pretty real to me going into firefighting, and with that, getting hired is a really big obstacle. It's hard to do. And a lot of it is interviewing, and being able to guide your own destiny into that. But then once you reach the panel and the interview, being able to speak to, typically it's, six firemen that are interviewing you and asking you tough questions, and be able to kind of maintain your composure and deal with that, right? That said, I was the youngest hired at Wellington Fire, and I'm currently still the youngest at Longmont Fire. And I think some of that is probably for Tara. Flip side of that too is creativity. I think a lot of people, and this might be the Waldorf aspect, I don't know, but creativity has been a huge aspect of my life, and has allowed me to start my own small business through that, and like I started playing the guitar, believe it or not, trying to sing some camp tunes, and that kind of stuff. But the creativity and kind of the itch to do creative things, I think has made a lasting impact in life.
Incredible. Okay, so this is the last question that I've prepared, and then we'll switch over to questions from those of you that are here. Thank you for being here and listening. So zooming out, thinking about this point, the moment that we're in right now in history, globally, nationally, where we are as a world, what are your feelings about why education matters? And maybe why specifically the kind of education that Tara brought to you matters?
I touch on this a lot as like Tara, the teachers want you to succeed, and this goes on to college. But I worked at a summer camp over the summer, last summer, and I really enjoyed teaching these kids about like outdoor safety, sustainability, the environment, that I kind of fell in love with teaching, and I made a decision to become a teacher after I graduate, to go through my teaching certification, just to kind of like bring it to the next generation. I feel like there's a lot of bad in this world with social media, AI, politics, but like I feel like this new generation needs, like, they need a helping hand, and I feel like if they can learn from someone who had such a strong impact of like teachers he had, I feel like that can spark another kid to be a teacher, and it can go on.
Wow. Amazing, Griffin.
I think about how easy it is to be cynical right now. And I think there's also sometimes an ethos that I encounter, which is if you're not cynical, you're not paying attention. This kind of idea that if you're smart, you're going to be pessimistic, because look at the world after all. And I don't feel that to be true. And I think about, well, where are those people who are smart and optimistic and know how to act? And I think about Tara students. When I meet someone and I'm like, gosh, this person is so open-hearted and friendly and warm and intelligent and grounded, and oh, you went to a Waldorf school, interesting, okay. That all lines up. So I think about this of, maybe that's all wrapped up into the education, but when I think about who I want to be around in this world and who I want to see populate this world more and more, it's this beautiful combination of optimism that's grounded in reality and intelligence and heart, and I find all of that at Tara.
Let me gather my thoughts.
Absolutely.
You go ahead. I would say, what I've connected between my kids' experience and being a parent of the Denver Waldorf School versus Tara, and watching my experience from the inside out versus the outside in. There's a lot of education around empathy, and Erin mentioned conflict resolution earlier. And I think based on this polarization that we're experiencing, the empathy piece and the genuine curiosity to listen to other people's perspectives, and to be able to have enough of a personal boundary of what is or is not acceptable. I mean, I learned my boundary in high school. It wasn't before that, and it was then. And I learned how to have empathy and understand, there's a difference between an opinion and a point of view, right? And a lot of that takes genuine curiosity to be able to uncover what a real point of view is from a bird's eye view versus from just having an opinion or something that you've heard from others. And I think with social media being noisy, it's noisy. And the things that are coming out are being dumped on us like nothing before. It's really important to have that. And with AI, it's really important to have the genuine curiosity to understand what is true and what is not true. And it's really hard to decipher right now, more than it's ever been. But I'm watching my kids have critical thinking skills that they're slowly developing, especially my teenagers. But even Zamora, my 6-year-old, she'll see something and she'll say, "That's AI." So because the adaption is so critical for all of us, I would say that the learned skill of empathy and the ability to be genuinely curious is going to serve in a very big way as we move forward in the world that's doing what it's doing.
Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you. I think Waldorf education is so unique for this because it's not just smaller class sizes, but it's the belief that learning can be taught through art. And I think that the community built within that is so interesting. The teachers that genuinely want you to succeed. There is so much isolation, and through that isolation, people fall into such extremeness. And I think that's after we all start school, right? Parenting is no longer a solo sport. We spend more time with our peers, with our teachers. And I think the weight of the influence that you all had, the teachers at Tara have on students, is that gravity is very taken seriously. And I think knowing how much influence not only your peers, but your teachers, the container, like you said, with that integrity, it very much, changes life trajectories and reduces that isolation.
Thanks, Asada.
I'll keep mine brief, and I think they gave some really good, profound answers. For me, I think, and we've touched on it, but it's kind of the conflict resolution and going to high school in such a small group that you're kind of forced to both understand people's other opinions, but also kind of try and find common ground, and be able to kind of manage these relationships. Because frankly, I mean, my graduating class is 12, so it's, if you were mad at even 4 of them, that's a huge amount, a huge percentage of your class. So kind of figuring out how to, I guess, almost having a little bit of a longing for, what's the word, like, not connection.
Resolution?
Yeah, maybe resolution, maybe connection, maybe understanding of the other point of view. And I think of my dad a lot because he always says that conversation, and I love having conversations that a lot of people are like, that's uncomfortable. I really enjoy this. But conversation, right, in Latin is to change together. And that's something that I think kind of allows to kind of, I don't know, I enjoy hearing whether it be the other side or somebody else's perspective or something like that. I'll leave it there because I'm a loose cannon, so.
That was a beautiful spot to end on. I'm writing down what you've said. Thanks so much, everybody. So, time for some questions, if you have them, from those that have been listening. And yes, Rebecca.
I'm interested in hearing how the substance agreements has affected.
Great. Just repeating that for the recording. Rebecca's wondering how the substance agreement impacted our lives.
Actually, that was something I wanted to mention, looking back at one of my answers. For me, it was actually weirdly enough, one of the driving forces to wanting to be at Tara. It was one of the reasons I really enjoyed it. It was something I found interesting. It was something that wasn't really offered anywhere else. I think for my life, it was actually really helpful to have never really gotten into that stuff. And then again, with getting hired young and all this stuff, drug testing now and all that, it's just been like, that's fine. I never created a habit. None of that. So, and it kind of, I don't know, it was one of the reasons that I applaud Tara, but also I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Thanks, Nico. Others want to answer that?
I can. I actually broke the substance agreement when I was at Tara over COVID. I wanted to be rebellious. I wanted to own my life back. I felt like COVID took something away, and in some weird, twisted way, I was like, I need to smoke to get my life back, and kind of resolving that, breaking the trust with not only my classmates but with the student body and the faculty at Tara. It kind of made me realize that, like, have a different relationship to substances, and it kind of just like changed my life and perspective on it.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Anybody else?
I would say I never had an issue with the substance policy. It was not ever really an interest of mine, but it was interesting. So I was adopted at birth, and when I was in my senior year, right before Oklahoma, the final spring musical, I met my biological family.
Wow.
And my biological mother, I found out, had been murdered when I was 11. And it was due to drugs. And my oldest came through the foster care system, and she was abandoned by her mom at 2. Her mom was 15 when she had her in foster care, and had a lot of drug issues. And so Javi has a really strong pillar of, I'm not going down that path. It's such a formative time for people to shape their personalities, and for the impact of substance to be present really removes the opportunity to become who you are. And so for me, I just thought, yeah, that's a good thing. Like, nobody needs to do drugs. But now it's looking back at it, what a gift to not be surrounded by that in your high school. Develop the strongest time of your personality development, to not be stuck feeling like you're part of, like you need to be in that peer pressure. It's a relief of the peer pressure. Yeah, it's a gift.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks for that sharing too.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah.
The thing I want to add is that was one of the things that drew me to Tara was this orientation around the substance policy, and the aspect that I want to touch on is just not just for the individual, but what's possible in a group. And you spoke to this a little bit of like the trust with your fellow students and the student body at large, and so I just felt that so strongly. Like we've made this agreement not just as individuals to ourselves, but to one another, and what is possible because of that. That was so deeply powerful for me.
Both of your answers resonated with me so much because it is the influence of your container, the influence of your environment. And for those parameters to be set, there are so many more opportunities for you as a group, for you as a class, and for the larger student body. And I think, yeah, that is something to be cherished.
Excellent. Other questions?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can ask a question.
My question
Classic.
is, because so many of us are artists and creatives, how many of you are doing something that's along the arts? Like Erin's expressed her interest and involvement in her poetry and writing her poetry book, right? I left Tara and became a professional salsa dancer and am now doing Bollywood dance, which I never thought I would do. But I think, like, and you started playing guitar, maybe a little. I mean, and you're now directing plays and doing the Tara thing, right? So it's, I mean, I guess maybe it's more of an observation. You're in the arts. You're in the arts, right? In some capacity. I don't know. It's just, it's interesting to see. What I guess I would say is I found community through the arts outside of the Tara body, but that's where my strongest community is through the arts. And I don't know if you've found that, or Erin, if you found that through the poetry community.
I'm definitely trying to find my space in the arts. I kind of am just exploring everything. I think the world's my oyster. I should look around. But I'm starting to get in. I sent some tapes into some student films, getting into acting, starting to play guitar again, make music, EDM kind of music, but just kind of gaining back my artistic ability.
Yeah.
Where my mind goes is what does the artistic lens give us? And yeah, I mean community, but so art, what does it mean to live artistically, to live creatively, to have a sense of imagination, to have a sense of play, to be able to problem solve in an uplifting way with one another? All of those things feel like such characteristics of an artistic life. So that's where my mind goes when I think about how is it imbuing our lives and our lives collectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I make a beautiful spreadsheet.
It is an art. That's the real art.
It really is.
Borders.
Exactly. No,
We need those.
I'm very into martial arts, and I think people see it as combat sports, but it is very much a dance, and it is so beautiful. And what you said reminded me of the otters are the only animals as adults who play, who continue throughout their lives to play. And I think that joy that you were talking about, that sense of play, is so connected to art, and the ability to do martial arts and still find that sense of dance and that sense of joy and that exuberance that is so connected to art from Tara is really, worthwhile.
Excellent. Other questions? Any questions that you all want to pose? That was great, Morgan. I'm hearing some whispering that someone should ask a question.
I'm telling her to do it. Putting her on the spot.
It sounds like one of you's got to do it.
Come on, Mom.
Come on, Cease, what do you?
Okay, there's one over there. Yes.
It's not really a question, it's more of an observation.
Okay.
I didn't come up with the guitar system, I'm married to a Sada. But as an outsider, right? Like Nico was saying, his class was 12. Mine was over 500. Very different, wildly different. There was kids that I graduated with who had my same last name, and I never met them. Which don't understand that until you come to a place like this.
Yeah.
I think that I think everyone here knows Jen and Charlie, and I think that my lovely wife was, she's intelligent, she's empathetic, she's very. I think that she was destined to do something cool and great. But I think that what you guys have here, I came up in a system. What you guys have here is an ecosystem, and then it cultivates the best of all of you. I mean, there's people here that are going to save lives one day. There's people here that are practicing law. There's people here that are going to create great things. They're going to change policy, and I think that that's something that you should all be proud of, because everyone here has cultivated that ecosystem. And coming from the outside looking in, maybe you all don't see that, but I do. I see it all the time. I see it with their siblings, I see it with their parents, I see it when I come to the place. And I think that you all should be proud and give yourself a round of applause for that.
Does that take care of that need over there?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. We have time for one more, if somebody's got one. Yes, Deborah.
I'm particularly sensitive to this question around feeling cynical in life today. And I'm wondering, for all of you, what is it out of your Tara experience that that you, not just a specific experience, but what is it in you that was cultivated that allows you to move forward as positively as possible and to cultivate ideals in the world today? Do you feel like you can? And do you? And how does that come about in you?
I don't know if it was only cultivated through Tara, because I am more than, the glass is overflowing generally. And my husband is mad at me for it sometimes because it's so positive. But I just genuinely think, like, most of us were given such a gift to be here. And because of the stability that was created here and the camaraderie and the community piece of it, and knowing that you can have difficult situations and you can have friendships that are very exacerbating, but still find the resolution, it's possible. So if you've seen it and you've lived it and it's been experienced, it's really easy to know that it's always possible, that nothing is really impossible if you prepare and you set up for it and you work for it. I mean, I don't know. It's like the eternal optimist came. It does feel like that here. And I just took it with me.
Great. Anyone else want to take a swing at that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, no, please.
I think kind of on what I had touched earlier of kind of that desire to sort of conversate with people. I think if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be married to my wife over here, who has a little kiddo on her chest right now. But because of that, I think we were able to we come from very different walks of life, and we were kind of able to get through a lot of that early on because of, I think, wanting to talk. And she comes from kind of also an alternate education style, if you will. But being able to find that and being able to find relationships and change and love and kind of create your own community, I mean, life is a lot easier to look forward to when you have that, right? So I don't know if that really answers your question, but that was my best shot.
And maybe I can
Beautiful.
modify, I just want to say, based on your experience and or your lives as they've unfolded, how do we remain not cynical? How do we remain, invited to entertain the ideals in life?
Talk to each other.
I was going to say talk about the ideals. Because if you're not talking about the ideals, they can't be there. I mean, the louder that the things that are good are expressed, the louder that we see the things that bring us joy and hope and excitement, the louder those things become, the more everyone buys in. So if we're not talking about it, it's not there.
So you all feel the courage, right? You feel the courage to bring that.
Or the response, maybe courage and responsibility.
I think about Tara as a microcosm. Like if we're able to talk with our partners and get through challenging times, and we're able to talk in our group of 10 and get through challenging times, then maybe we're able to talk in a group of 30 and get through challenging times, and 100, and I think about that. And so, yeah, I mean, this is like a place to practice being human. And if we can do it in these smaller settings, then perhaps we can do it in larger settings. I think about, so I work for the EPA. It's been a very challenging time in this administration. And we've been talking a lot about resiliency. And one of my colleagues did a lot of research about this topic, read a lot of articles, watched a lot of TED Talks, and put together this great presentation. And one of the main themes was, when you find resilient people, it's because they're in resilient communities. It's not individualistic, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, I'm gonna get through this alone kind of thing. So I think about Tara as this microcosm for the world, and I think that's how.
I like what you said about practicing humanity and being human, because like you said earlier, empathy isn't really part of a curriculum. It isn't really taught. And so either you learn it through osmosis or you don't. And it is pretty, it seems intentional to teach empathy and that connection through the Tara curriculum. And theater is nothing if not practicing to be human and putting yourselves in the shoes of someone like you or someone different for months on end, right? You're wearing the hat or the coat of a different person and you're living with that character for so long, building that connection with someone different than you. And I think that that building of empathy and that coming back to the understanding that the connection and the empathy is the most important part.
I want to try to speak to that for a second as well. And I was thinking about the 10th and 11th grade play that just concluded here 3 weeks ago. I guess that was 3 weeks ago. Wow. And something that Laurel had actually texted me that I read to the 10th and 11th graders when we were closing the play was something like, isn't it interesting what happens when we come into confrontation with other people's thoughts? And in the context of the play, other people's thoughts were the artistic expressions and the artistic mediums and the various choices that were displayed in the gallery. It's an expression of someone's thought, right? And then we get to see in the museum all these people coming into having their reactions and their loves and their hates and their all kinds of crazy things happening in the museum in response to the art. And meanwhile, the audience is sitting here looking at all of this with interest and being entertained and thinking perhaps a little bit as well. And ultimately what it brought up for me in working with the students and for some of them as well is like, look what happens. Look how interesting life is if you look at it as if it is art. And if you find a way to be interested, it can be incredibly engaging and enlivening and enjoyable and hilarious if you keep that framework on it. And so for me personally, the constant reminder, and I'm so lucky that my job involves being able to be creative and teach other people how to work in that world as well. But if I'm able to remember to look at things through an artistic lens, then the optimism and the joy just comes welling up within me as I do that with other people in the particularly beautiful collaborative art form that theater is. So I think for me, art is the key to being interested, and being interested is the key to remaining hopeful. Yeah. Yes, Mindy.
Do you have any advice for students after experiencing such a wonderful high school experience for the next step in life? Is there any advice you have for students?
I will warn, it's a little vacating to go from such a safe and wonderful and tight, there's the feeling of, oh, I get to go experience the world, but then there's a little bit of grief that comes too. Loss of that consistency of community in the same way. It's why you see a lot of alumni come to the shows and come back for events like this to stay as close as they can to the community. But the great news is that you've been given a huge skill set to go out into the world with. And the more you open yourselves up to opportunities that come your way, don't get yourself stuck on one path without the openness to other paths, because there are more than one way to get to where you want to be, and where you want to be may change.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else want to answer that one?
That's a great answer.
I mean, I can speak to a little bit of this feeling of like, ooh, okay, yeah, this is different. And I remember feeling going into college like I was quite different, and where are the people that want to sing with me? And spontaneously in the cafeteria, and I guess if I were to go back to myself at that time, and what could I tell myself? I think, if I could give myself some courage to not shrink back from who I am, that just because you're not immediately finding those resonant friends, it's going to sound cheesy, but don't stop singing. Keep doing that, because they are there, they are out there, and you will find them. And if you stop, they might not find you as quickly.
You think? It's all brand new, right? It's such a blind choice, this massive decision of where to go to college or what to do next, and you have so little information. It is kind of a shot in the dark, and hopefully you end up very happy, and otherwise you transfer and end up very happy. And I think like you said about your skill set, at Tara you've done new things all the time, whether it's learning to raft, or work on the Native American trip, or international travel, or the different things that we learned through our coursework, or learning how to build sets or do lighting design. You've done new things constantly that you don't even realize how new and how different and how diverse those experiences have been. And you're moving into a setting that is completely brand new. Mm-hmm. If I could have found a little bit more of that courage to lean into, yes, it is brand new and every single thing you're seeing is new, but you've done that before.
Mm. Beautiful. Well, unless someone is, you got more?
I would just
Bring
encourage
it on.
Tara. I mean, you've heard us all talk about the trips, right? Like those are poignant moments. They're learning moments. They're intimate moments. They're crazy fun moments. And Tara creates a launch pad for the passion of travel. I have what I would consider my travel as my secondary, third degree, whatever, and my student loans because of it. I traveled to 35 different countries and collected so much knowledge from travel. So I do encourage you, if you have the ability, even if it's taking on a second job for a little while, to pay for a trip. Get your backpack, get ready for the hostels, but it's worth every moment because you're learning about culture and a lot of the things that you got sparked for interest with Tara for European history, art history, American history, all of that is out there physically to watch and see and learn and be in. And those magic moments can still be held through travel. So I would just say, when you're given the opportunity, or if you can make the opportunity, that piece, the launch pad that Tara created for that passion of travel, harness that. It's very valuable.
Awesome. Thanks, Morgan. Yeah. Okay, so to end, we're gonna try this. To end, last time we did this, we had, obviously we were in the annex, but I want to invite us to say the morning verse together to close the night, okay? So, Nico's growling about this. I can feel it. This might be miserable.
It'll come back.
Oh, no. It'll come back. So, if we just go down here, and everybody else get up and let's make a circle. So, those of you seniors that are in the back row, you guys can stay there. You can be like that part of the circle, I guess. It'll be quick. All right. Okay. All right, we might have to scoot and do some scooting. Oh, they're moving. You're okay. Yeah, you're okay. We can do that. Okay. You're inside. Yeah. You're connecting to Greg and you're connecting to Russ, and it's gonna work. Okay. Here we go. I look into the world in which the sun is shining, in which the stars are sparkling, in which the stones repose. The plants they live and grow, the beasts they feel and live. The human being within their soul gives dwelling to the spirit. I look into the soul that lives within myself. The world Creator weaves in sunlight and in soul light, in cosmic space without, in depths of soul within. To thee, Creator Spirit, I will now turn my heart to ask that strength and blessing for learning and for work may ever grow within me.
Blessings on our day.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to the alums who joined us.